Good afternoon to you. Today we continue in our section, which I trust again will be of edification, of challenge, and would make us stop just for this moment and think about where we are and what is our conduct towards our Father. And that is what Watson really is trying to do here, that we would just stop just for a time and ask ourselves, where are we at? And as we read through the epistles in the New Testament, we are ever encouraged to examine ourselves, which is a very, very healthy thing to do. Today we continue on number 2 in our section, which is titled, Let us behave ourselves as the children of such a Father. You'll remember the first few weeks we were looking at the beneficiaries, the happiness of God being our Father. And they were, without doubt, great gems, great truths, which will give and grant great assurance to the child of God. I trust these will do that also. They ask questions of ourselves. And today, as we move on to number 2, my prayer is that these won't just be something that we view and look at, and I myself be a participant in, that they will help us and cause us to ever grow in the love of Christ. So let me go on. Number 2, if God be our Father, let us imitate him. The child not only bears his father's image, but imitates him in his speech, in his gesture, and in his behavior. If God be our Father, let us imitate him. Be ye followers of God as dear children. Quoting there from Ephesians 5, verse 1. Imitate God in forgiving injuries. I have blotted out as a thick cloud thy transgressions. Isaiah 64, verse 22. As the sun scatters not only thin mist, but thick clouds, so God pardons great offences. Imitate him in this, forgiving one another. Ephesians 4:32. I pause at that point. I believe that forgiveness is one of our greatest evidences that we are a child of God. I believe that unforgiveness brings bitterness and sadness, and it can cause us very much to stumble in our way. And we are called to forgive. We are called to forgive. This is not something that we should consider, but we are commanded to forgive. We ought to forgive as Christ forgave us. While we were yet still sinners, Christ died for the ungodly. May we imitate that, not only in word, but in deed. Speaks of Cranmer, who was a man of forgiving spirit. He buried his injuries and requited good for evil. Let us be of the same mind, dear brothers and sisters, today. May we grant forgiveness. May we grant forgiveness. He who has God for his Father will have him for his pattern. Imitate God in works of mercy. The Lord looseth the prisoners. Again, that is Psalm 145, verse 7. He opens his hand and satisfies the desire of every living thing. He drops his sweet dew, upon the thistle as well as the rose. Imitate God in works of mercy. Relieve the wants of others. Be rich in good works. Be merciful as your Father also is merciful. Luke 6:36. Be not so hard-hearted as to shut the door from all communications. These things here that are written by Watson, though they are small in quantity, they are large, again, as I've already said, in quality. They bring a great challenge to us, do they not? That we ought to forgive, that we ought to be slow to anger, quick in mercy. This is who God is, and he desires his children to conduct themselves in the same manner. So today we ought to behave ourselves in this way, in forgiving, in being quick in mercy. And we will only do that if we are a child of God who walk after the Spirit. May the God of heaven bless you and keep you until the next time. Amen.